Hello, this is Kevin Idesmore. I just have a quick video. Trying not to make this longer than about 2 minutes. But I had a nightmare about, the Jehovah's Witnesses, basically. And it was 2 or 3 nights ago. I think it was 2 nights ago. And fairly recently. And this nightmare had to do with, what happened with, had to do with me, and I never was a Jehovah's Witness, and I wasn't raised up one, unofficially or officially. I had several different studies with them in my adult years, never as a child. I don't even think I've ever came across a Jehovah's Witness even once as a child, maybe, but I never remember. Just so you guys know, but about that. But anyways, about the nightmare. I guess I first should say I used to be a Christian Scientist. I was raised a Christian Scientist. Mary Baker Eddy was the founder of that religion back in the late 1800s, and that's kind of, I guess it's sort of like the Baptist Church, but it's their anti-doctor. It's an anti-doctor. I got away from that. I never became a member when I became an adult. I did research into other Christian denominations, and I found the Catholics to be, I think, the best Christian denomination, but just not good enough because of the recent scandal and immoral practices of leaders and within the Catholic Church, molestation or whatever else, and just basically the leaders were getting away with stuff just because they wanted to keep things silent, and they just didn't want to believe anything. Also because they didn't want to believe any pastor or preacher or priest. I think they call them priests there. Is bad. But anyways, this isn't really about that. This video is mostly just to tell the world about my nightmare about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'll probably never become one. I mean, I don't really know for sure, but overall they don't seem like too bad of an organization, to be honest. But at the same time, somebody said it's cult-like. But anyways, this really was while I was sleeping at night. It was a nightmare. Okay, so let's begin. So it was, I was sitting down at some table or in a living room or room. I don't know what kind of room it was, but sitting down. I don't know if there was a table nearby or not for sure. It's kind of a vague nightmare I had, but anyways, I was sitting down, and the Jehovah's Witnesses were sitting next to me or standing next to me, or both, I think. Both sitting and standing, and there was a handful of different Jehovah's Witnesses around. A few, maybe 5 or so people. Yeah, probably not anything. It was just a few people, basically. And they were around me, and some man or woman came up to me. Somebody just came up to me, and I remember the nightmare vividly in every way. I forget who came up to me, but somebody who was an older person, or at least as old as me, came up and said, about how we are required as Jehovah's Witnesses to take this item. It would look like a rice cooker or a cooker. It just very basically looked like a rice cooker. I don't know what else I could compare it to, but I don't know what it was. I don't know what the hell it was, but it had some kind of doohickey, a thing sticking out the top of it at an angle that was a square metal, or what looked like a metal material that it was made out of, or partly metal anyways, the end of it. And it was a square end of it. And it was a hole in the square that went down inside the item. And what shot out or spat out, or what that hole was for, I don't know, but it came and it popped up quickly out of there, about an inch or two, somewhere around a couple inches. It shot out like as if it was an electric motor, quickly bringing the metal squared cylinder tube item out, protruding out from the top of the rice cooker type of item. It wasn't a rice cooker, I'm sure, but whatever the hell it was weird, and it just automatically, I didn't press any buttons or do anything unless it's voice activated in a way I didn't know, or I'm just saying there's nothing I did really. I was just sitting, not touching it, just sitting back from it, and several seconds passed by, or a few at least, and the item came popping out in just a second, and pretty fast, like an electric motor would. This very, very small miniature, 2 millimeter size electric motor, whatever. Maybe it's more like a centimeter really, but whatever those small things are, that you know what I'm talking about. Some drapes are electric motor driven in houses, and that's an example. But anyways, the item had that shot out, and nothing squirted out or shot out. But I then put my hand up against what came out, protruded out of at an angle, at a 45 or about a 45 degree angle from the top of the item. It wasn't in the center, it was kind of between the center and the edge of the item, and weird like that. But anyways, so I just took my hand and basically swatted it out of my way, slowly swatted it, kind of pushed it, basically lightly pushed it, out of not wanting to damage it or anything. Like I cared, I guess. I don't know why I cared, but so I slowly pushed it out of my way, but not too slowly, and got it out of my way so it wasn't pointing at me anymore, because initially it was pointing towards my face, almost exactly towards my face, and I just thought that was a little threatening. I didn't know what the item was, so I pushed the top of it out of my way, and then I just was saying to this woman next to me, or I think it was a woman that was a Jehovah's Witness, or was it somebody else, whatever, but somebody was beside me. I was explaining this, having a short discussion about, basically I was saying that I didn't like what is this? And then she was saying, she or he was saying they don't know what it is, and it's required by, it's either that person or somebody else came up to me and says, I think she said, and some man said that it was, they both told me at the same time, I think, that, or something like that, or right after each other, that it was required for every Jehovah's Witness in the whole world to have this item. They didn't bother telling, I didn't bother asking, but they didn't bother telling me what the item was. They just said that it was a required item for every Jehovah's Witness to have this. Every Jehovah's Witness everywhere, and if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you have to have this kind of a thing. And anyways, so I'm pretty sure I woke up after that. I don't remember if there was anything else. I mean, I was having maybe a little bit of an argument over that during the time I woke up in my nightmare. I was having an argument with the person next to me, or the people next to me, and starting to ask and just basically tell them that I'm not cool with this. This is just weird and just too creepy. It was just too creepy, and then that's when I woke up from the nightmare. Well, okay, so I just wanted to say about that nightmare. I don't know why I had it. I mean, maybe it's from the devil. Maybe it's a nightmare from God. Maybe it's just my own imagination while I'm sleeping. Whatever. But I think it says something about the cult-like atmosphere that Jehovah's Witnesses have. They seem to have a lot of rules, and they always threaten people with disfellowshipping, and which is both bad and good, I think, honestly. I mean, there's something good about it because you're requiring people to have better morals, but at the same time it's bad because it makes people uncomfortable and stressed if they're thinking that they could be disfellowshipped, especially when it breaks up families. If one family member is a Jehovah's Witness and the other isn't, and just hell happens then in the family, that people can't talk to each other. They shun each other in their own family, and that's a little too far, I think, that kind of practice. But anyways, but it's not like everybody gets disfellowshipped or leaves the church, but whenever it does happen, it's really horrible like that. And I was watching this video about this young black man that was, I think he got a 4.0 grade point average in high school or college or something like that. And it was a long hour video he had, or somewhere around an hour. I forget his name, but anyways, he probably knows who he is because he's on YouTube. He has a video on YouTube I was watching. But I better end this. I think this has gone like 10 minutes instead of 2 minutes or something. But I was just saying, I just wanted the world to know that about my nightmare. And it's basically, it required, without telling them what the item does and how to operate it or what it's kind of for, and just basically, here you go, it's a required item. Your Jehovah's Witness is a required item. Without even explaining anything, just here you go. It reminds me of, well, I better not say what it basically reminds me of some things I was required to do in the past at past jobs, but I won't get into those details. But that's a long story in itself. That's not about religion, really, but it's about a social thing, bullying, and kind of feel like like things ought to be explained from people who are leaders to their followers, and not always does that happen. When that doesn't happen, things get creepy, and they could be dangerous or even deadly in rare situations. And anyways, no Christian organization is perfect, but at the same time, Jehovah's Witnesses are much different. I mean, there is the Catholic Church, at least in the Middle Ages, with a thing called the well, at least kings or leaders, like kings or princes and stuff. I think it was called excommunication or excommunicated. I think that's what it was. But basically, it's the same thing as disfellowshipment or disfellowshipping is excommunication. I think by the Catholic Church. I don't know if they still have that because I'm never going to be Catholic probably either, but I'm just a Bible church kind of going guy, non-denominational Christian that believes a lot of the Jehovah's Witnesses type of teachings, such as God is not in Jesus' flesh. He never was. Jesus prayed to God and he wasn't God, and there's many more scriptures about how Jesus Christ was not God himself, and he prayed to God and other stuff. It's all painfully obvious that Jesus Christ is not God. But there's only one scripture, I think somebody pointed out in some debate I was watching on YouTube. There is actually one scripture, and I don't remember where it is, but I don't know it, but supposedly it's somewhere in the New Testament that says or highly suggest anyways, that Jesus Christ is God himself. But everything else, other than that one, maybe two scriptures, there's many others, at least 5, I'm pretty sure, that suggest and or say outright that Jesus Christ is obviously not God himself. And he says some things about the Father as if he's not the Father God. It's just so painfully obvious to me, you know. If you take things as a whole, I think the Jehovah's Witnesses are right about that part. And there's many other things that they seem to be right about in the Bible, when other Christians are wrong about. But I can't say I agree with everything that they have for their New World Translation or New International Version or whatever it's called for their version of the Bible. I mean, historians on YouTube videos say that it's more accurate, the King James Version of the Bible. Besides the word Baptist, it's supposed to be John the Baptizer, not John the Baptist. So the Baptist religion is false, and it's a false religion. But the rest with only one other exception, I think, the rest of the King James Version Bible is like over 99% accurate. And I mean, it's even more accurate, I think, overall than the Jehovah's Witnesses Bible or the new NIV or whatever they call their version. And I think the King James Version is the most accurate English version that there is of the Bible. If you can understand the Old English, I guess. New American Standard, I think, is probably based upon that. And that's the next one I would suggest people read that know the English language. Probably that's the best one. But if you can understand the Old English, that's the more accurate way to go. It's not perfect though, but it's near perfect. There's only that John the Baptist that they wanted to put up in there and mistranslate falsely to try and lie in a way, because that's when, right around that time, plus or minus 10 years, I think, around 1610 or something like that, AD was the year that they started this. They started this. JWVictims.org. I mean, there's at least one or two other websites. But anyway, 1610, King James Version of the Bible came literally the same time that the Baptist religion started, which was kind of, from what I understand, it probably had something to do with Martin Luther King, the guy, back around the year 1600, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. The early Renaissance period is when he was a Catholic that was priest, I think he was, or pastor, that was rebelling against the Catholic Church, or partly rebelling or something like that. So more like complaints, really. I think that's what he had, but he had a lot of different complaints. Posted something on some door somewhere and whatever. So just saying that it's too coincidental, and it's just painfully obvious to me that the Baptists aren't right about that one word in the King James Version. The word Baptist should be baptizer. Baptist should be baptizer. Almost like, at least with the John the Baptist, it should be John the Baptizer. But everything else is not mistranslated in the King James Version of the Bible, as far as I know. And I've read the whole New Testament and all of Ezekiel and the first half of Genesis and some random parts of the Old Testament other than that. So maybe not most of the Bible, but about a third of the Bible in total, I've read. So I know my stuff basically, and I'm scholarly, but I'm not a pastor myself. Not a church reader. I've never been. Well, anyways, yeah, you could go on for too long. But this is pretty much all I wanted to say for this video. Alright, so, but just keep in mind that some of the stuff that I had to say, like if you're a Jehovah's Witness leader or you're a Jehovah's Witness member, or you're thinking about becoming a Jehovah's Witness, because not saying that you should listen to only me. Do your research. So, okay. So have a good day.